Welcome to USMLE Sarthi. We are committed to empowering IMGs. We're excited to guide you on your match journey. Don't forget to click subscribe and turn on notifications so you can get notified whenever we add new content. Also, follow us on Instagram and Twitter for the latest tips and tricks regarding everything USMLE. Now, let's dive into it.
Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to our channel. I am Shayla from USMLE Sarthi, and with me today I have Pawan Kira, our director. How are you doing, Pawan?
Very good, Shayla. Thank you. And this is December, so almost the home stretch now. So let's discuss on what the IMG applicant should be doing now.
So if you've been following along with us, we've been going month to month on every topic that you should be covering to make sure nothing gets missed on the match. So we are, like Pawan said, nearing that end. The match date is coming up. So we're just going to talk about today, is the season over? What kind of interview prep do we still need to be doing at this point? What opportunities do students have? And then we'll start talking about the next season for 2026 already as well. So let's jump into it. Okay, so first we do want to say congratulations to all the students who have been interviewing. Interviews have been going out, and we've had a lot of students that are interviewing at top programs, and we're really excited for them. So we hope that continues to go well for those students. Okay, so Pawan, is the season over?
So if we are talking in terms of the interview invites, I would say 80 to 90% invites have been sent out. So, established programs are 80 to 90% done. There is a possibility, of course, that some students accept pre-match, or some applicants who have to go for in-person on-site interviews, they cancel it because of weather or because of financial issues, logistics. So there will be some interviews that will come in later in December, early January. There may be some new programs that always get accredited, so that can come in also. But yeah, I would say from a interview invite perspective, about 80 to 90% we are done. However, of course, season is not over for actual interviews. Now, this is the peak time when students are interviewing with the program. So you really, if you have one interview or 10 interviews, you should be preparing for the interviews.
Right. I think that's one of the biggest pieces, is preparing for those interviews and being ready for them before they come. So what about students who maybe are done interviewing or have already done some interviews? What should they be doing now?
So being active is always a good strategy, whether you have 0 interviews, 1 interviews, or you have completed the interviews, because that always conveys to the program that you're clinically active, you're not sitting at home. And remember, even if you have done your interviews, you will be sending some kind of letter of intent, you will be sending some kind of updates to the program. Always a good idea to let them know what you're doing. So if you're done with interviewing, go back to work, or keep yourself clinically active. More interviews can come, but if you've not done step 3, for example, try to get it out of the way. So just tying the loose ends at this point, if you have done all your interviews.
Right. You did mention the letter of intent. When does that go out? Is there a due date?
So there is no due date, but like I said, students are interviewing, the programs are interviewing at this point. So it's too early to send letter of intent. Letter of intent, typically middle of January would be a good time when you can say to the programs, look, I've interviewed, finished my interviews, and based on my research, analysis, etc. And we'll have a different I guess a webinar or video on that. I would want to rank your program very high. So I think middle of January would be when you want to send a letter of intent.
Perfect. Okay, I wanted to talk about some of those students who have been getting interviews. Maybe they have 5 or 10 or even more. What are some of your tips for them? How do they balance and manage those interviews? How do they keep track of them? Make sure obviously they do well. And then to go along with that, do you think that thank you letters are an important piece?
So let me take the thank you letter first. So thank you letters don't swing the interview in your favor or against you if you don't send. It's a courtesy. But you should send it if you really have any doubts. If it helps you make sleep better at night, send it. It doesn't harm you. It takes 5 minutes, so do send it. But if you don't send it, don't worry. It doesn't really swing one way or the other. So that out of the way. If you have 5 or more interviews, obviously you should be preparing for the interviews. Whether you have 10 interviews or one, there have been times that students with even 10 interviews have not matched. And a lot of it is because they didn't have structured interview preparation. So that's one. So preparation is the key. Second, if you can space out your interviews, always a good idea, right? Because you do want to work on any kind of feedback or your performance self-appraisal after an interview. You may be thinking, okay, maybe I didn't have good answers for my research or USCE and all that. So it takes time to improve on any kind of self-analysis, feedback, etc. So you space them out, work on the feedback, and then more importantly, of course, keep the relationship with the program. Let's say you interviewed with 2 programs, thank you emails, and keeping them updated on what you're doing, say step 3 or other things. So keeping up the relationship with the programs is important. That's if you have 5 or more kind of interviews.
Perfect. I think something important you said was preparing for each individual interview, not just saying the same answers for every program, but being prepared for that program and why you want to match at that program.
Absolutely, because there will be some answers that are probably related to your experience, your USCE, your research, but a lot of your interview preparation will be program specific. Program community versus university, which part of the US it is in, where do you have family, what does the program talk about on its website, away rotations, didactics, all of that will feed into your interview preparation, and it takes time.
Right. So let's talk about those who maybe you've touched on it a little bit, but maybe if they only have 1 or 2 interviews. I know a lot of students might be panicking there, but what are your tips? If they have 1 or 2, can they still match? What are the tips?
Oh, yes, of course they can match. And every year, those of you who followed our YouTube channel or otherwise, we have students who matched with one. So that's a real possibility. However, to make sure that one or two interviews really count, the basics are you have to prepare for the interview. You have to give it all you have. So there are 50 to 60 questions which you really must nail. You need to prepare those. You need to understand about the program. Like I mentioned, you really should be having a lot of mock interviews, whether you prepare with your friends, your seniors, you get Sarthi's help. We have a very experienced set of panelists. So prepare, because that one interview could be a difference between you going into SOAP or you matching. So I think it's all about that preparation, but also don't forget you got to balance certain things. If you are preparing for step 3, that also has to happen, and keep yourself clinically active, because with 1 or 2 interviews, your risk taking capacity reduces as opposed to having 10 interviews. So check box all the things you need to do. I think that's important.
Absolutely. And is it okay to still reach out to programs at this point and ask for interviews?
Yes, of course. Reaching out to the programs or reaching out to your own network is always a good idea. There will be, like I said, new programs, or there could be cancellation interviews. So you never know what you could get. So yes, don't leave out the outreach.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about those students who maybe haven't received any interviews yet at this point, and why do you think that happens? Why do some IMGs not get interviews? And then what can they be doing at this point?
So why typically IMGs don't get interviews? Obviously, we've gone through some of these, but I'll repeat. It could be they applied late, could be one reason. They have some red flag like low scores or attempts. More than the red flags, it is the strategy to overcome those red flags was not put in place. So maybe not enough USCE, maybe not enough research, maybe the gaps were not filled, maybe the outreach was not there. So it could be multiple reasons. And if you don't have interviews, and you want to do a profile review, you can always talk with our team, and maybe Shaila, we can, show them as you will how to set up a profile review with us. So we can go over, student specific questions in that. Now, if you don't have any interviews, what can you do at this point? So outreach always is a good idea, whether or not you get it. It's always good because it could happen. Second, remember SOAP is there. SOAP is supplementary offer and acceptance program that happens during the match week. If you don't match and if there are available spots with the program, that's when SOAP kicks in. So anything you can do to improve your chances in SOAP, more rotations, more LORs. In SOAP, you cannot change your EDAS CV, but you can change your PS. You can add more experiences as part of your PS. You can add new letters. So all those kind of things can help you in SOAP. So if you don't have any interviews, don't worry. You keep working, the clinical side, the research side, and be ready for SOAP. However, let's be realistic, SOAP is not easy. If you don't have any interviews at this point, I think realistically you should be thinking about the next season. So while not giving up on SOAP, but thinking about the next season, thinking about the rotations, the research, step 3, planning all the way for next September, I think is very realistic.
Perfect. And I do want to start transition into that, preparing for next season. But I had one more question about the ROL list. When do they submit their rank order list?
So the rank order list deadline for the programs and the applicants is the same. And I think it is the first week, sometimes maybe 2nd or 3rd of March, but you can all look at it. We still have time. So don't worry about rank order list at this point. You do have at least 2 months. So Sarthi students start working on it middle of January, end of January. They have a discussion with their mentors. We have a tool that they use for rank order list. So we have a lot of support on rank order list. But if you're not a Sarthi student, even then, I think it's early for the rank order list. You have time to think about it and submit.
Perfect. Okay. Any tips you have for students this year before we move on to the 2026 season?
Not really. I mean, we've covered this in the season. Like I said, new programs could come up. There could be some cancellations. So just be ready. There would be times, and I see this every day, student suddenly panics in a happy way that I have an interview in 2 days. They haven't started their preparation. So that's the only thing, just be ready. Your outreach or other efforts can pay back anytime, and then you don't want to mess it up.
Absolutely. Okay, so starting on the 2026 season, it is time to start thinking about that, start making preparations financially, visa, scheduling, all of that. So we just want to start thinking about that. So what are your tips at this point for students looking at 2026?
So, and I know you will share the screen with the new webinar that we have in a week, but this would be a good time for students to plan out some of the quantifiable things, how much USCE, when do they want, what about research, what about CK, some of you may want to do step 3. So we do have a timeline blog. I think maybe in the next video that we should go specifically into the timeline, but now is the time to think about those things, volunteering, some of those things you should be starting to think about. But let me stop here. I know we have a webinar next week where we can discuss about these things in greater detail. And Shaila, if you want to share your screen so that students who want to register for the webinar can do it.
Yeah, let me pull that up. So I am on our website, USMLESarthi.com. This is just our homepage here. And it actually has this tile here that talks about our webinar that is coming up. Also down here under upcoming events. So both of those you can click on there and it'll give you the registration link for the webinar this Sunday, on the 15th. And so we will be talking about basically the financial plan. How much does it cost? How do I balance this all out how to save money to make it all happen?
May also be a good idea to talk about our campus ambassador program. So, if you are applying next season or maybe season after that, and, we have a lot of opportunities to help you, and you can also help others in terms of helping them know more about USMLE, about our events and all that. So that's also on our website, I guess.
Yep, so that's here under student opportunities, student ambassador. So you can sign up for that opportunity as well.
Yeah, so do that. And, if you are interested, we'll help you in your USMLE journey with some attractive discounts, some of the other guidance from us. And then you can help promote USMLE within your network, within your schools. And also if we do some events, then help us from that perspective.
Perfect. And then I wanted to show also our rotations, since that is a big part of getting ready for the next season.
Yep.
If we go to services, rotations, you can find a list of all of our rotations here. We actually have a spreadsheet of all the rotations and kind of a highlight of all the details there too.
Yeah, so that's an important part. If you click on it, you will be able to sort the rotations by state, by specialty. Many rotations are offering discounts at this point. So you can see that always a good idea to, take care of or take advantage of these discounts, because you won't get much discounts in July, August, September.
Right.
In now and April, good discounts are available both on hospital rotations, clinic rotations. So take a look on the spreadsheet. You can sort it, get in touch with our team. The link, I think, on column B can get you to more description of those rotations.
Absolutely. Yep, that's clickable. And then you can apply through the website there when you click on the link.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. Anything else you wanted to show from the website perspective?
No, I think that's where we are. So we'll talk more about it next weekend, which is 15th, where we'll have our panelists, our students, and they will share their tips on financial side of the match, how to plan, like Sheila said, how to save money and for the next season. So, let's discuss the details then.
And stay tuned. The end of December, we'll also do a webinar on how to prepare for and do well in your rotations. How do you earn that strong letter of recommendation too? Those will be important tips.
Yep.
Okay,
all right.
perfect.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Pawan.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. We hope that video provided valuable insights for your journey. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And check out our website for details on how we can guide you to a successful match.